Okay, you
Are
should
we
be
there?
good to go.
You know, I always look for that little blue circle to stop spinning. All right, so good evening, everyone. Look, two times in a row, I've been on time today, so good deal. So good evening. We had our earlier chat with the chief this afternoon, and then this is our second session. So I appreciate all those that tuned in earlier this afternoon. We got some phone numbers and some questions, and we're able to respond back, and will respond back. And then this is our second session. So I know sometimes it's hard with everything that's going on, the kids in school and out of school, and pandemic and all the things. So I know it can be hard at times, the stuff that we're trying to do. So we do two different sessions. So again, I appreciate those that were here with me this afternoon, and openly welcome those that are here this evening. So there's a couple of things that I like to talk about, to be open and transparent, to share information with the citizens here, our community. I think it's important that you have an idea of the situation the city is in with crime, things we have currently going on, and things that we will have going on as we move forward. So, Cameron, it's good to have you on board. Thanks for Cameron. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much. Um, so I first want to say today, and I know we're only 3.5 months in, but currently the city, it has it's a 28, almost a 30% reduction in crime for the year compared to last year. And when I look at that, if I go back the last 3 or 4 years, in 2018 we had a 5% reduction. In 2019 we had a 9% reduction. In 2020 we were down 14%, and we're currently, like I said, we're currently down about 28.2, 28.3% in crime. So if we reported out to the FBI today, that would be what our numbers were. So I like to be open and transparent with that. We're doing really good on our larcenies. Burglaries, auto theft has still been a little bit of a challenge for us, and do have a couple more shootings this year than we had last year, although we've seen those start to tail off. And anytime I talk about crime and data and evidence based, anytime I do that, I want to be very, very clear that I do recognize, understand, and realize that every one of those incidents is uh, an individual, right? It's a family member, a friend, um, a community, a neighborhood. It affects all of us, and I completely and totally understand that. But I also need to make sure that if we have strategies and initiatives in place and crime is decreasing, those are things that I want to harden. Those are things that I want to expand on. If those same strategies and initiatives are in place and crime is increasing, then what I cannot do is continue to do the same thing. That I have to evolve and change and develop. So when we look at evidence based and data driven, it's very, very hard to manage incidents and situations if they're not measured. So that's the reason that I look at that data. We look at our crime data every Monday, and we look at it every Thursday. But I'm very cognizant that that is an individual, a family, and a community. So let me catch up here just a little bit. Cameron, again, thanks for being here. Stephanie, thank you for being on board. Miss Dance, it's good to have you here. Thank you. Debbie, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Maria, hi, it's good to see you. Thank you. Prince, it's always good to have you, my friend. Keith, good to see you. Hope I was where I've been on. Ashland, been inquiring minds wants to know, are you getting a cough take? I'm not a very good swimmer, Keith. We'll leave it at that, my friend. Ivory, it's good to have you. Good to have you here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And look, it's really any topic that you'd like to talk about is kind of an opportunity just to sit and share information and try to field your questions. The only disclaimer is if something's asked about a particular case, I have to be very, very careful about getting particulars. But I'll try to be as open and transparent as I can. But I don't want to try cases in social media. So, Stephanie, wow, thank you. Can we talk some traffic control, please, through Hilton Village? Maybe some better speed limit signs indicate speed limit. Stephanie, it's I will tell you, it's funny you said that. This year in 2021, I really want to focus on technology, and we just signed off on and purchased 3 speed trailers. We will deploy That's right. Deploy one in the north part of the city, one in the central, and one in the south. And when I say speed trailer, on wheels, and then the digital sign that will indicate your speed, and then if you're excessive, it'll flash, right? So we're trying to use that as a force multiplier. You and I both know that where we have those, there will be officers close by, but also for people to see and maybe police themselves a little bit about their speed. So we just purchased. We purchased 3. We'll see how those go before we purchase any more. But that's a great point. Our first priority is always going to be our violent crime, but we also know that we've had way too many accidents in this city, and that's why we created the traffic division back in March of last year. And this is a way of technology. I thought this would be a good choice to spend some money and expand a little bit. So absolutely, and I'll pass that on. I have Jamie is here with me tonight. We'll take some notes, and I'll pass that on to the precinct so they have that as well. So thank you very much. That's a great great insight. Sylvia, as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Kevin, thanks for being on board tonight, my friend.
She's replying to stuff.
Oh, Debbie's saying I agree to. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Sorry, sometimes it takes me a little bit to understand the technology side of things. So Stephanie's replying. Okay, great.
Well, no, she said she knows what you're talking about with the speed trailers.
Oh, okay. So she understands. Okay, good. So a couple things I wanted to touch base on. We talked about our crime stats, graduation. We have 16 new recruits that will graduate not this Thursday, but next Thursday on March 25th. 16 new individuals that will graduate and be assigned individual precincts and field trainers. They will. I am excited to get them out. They're excited. I think they were ready to get out about a month ago. We did some extensions into this academy class. We incorporated another class dealing with more training, training with autism, training with implicit bias, and we put a new week added onto the class about communication, interpersonal skills, how we talk to people, how we interact with people, how we de-escalate. And not just when we initially get to a call, but if we have to make an arrest, that how we de-escalate afterwards. That we make sure that we do our best. That look, this isn't personal. We got a call here. You got a warrant on file. This is what happened. Please understand, it's not personal, but we're just trying to do the best that we could. So all those things we've added to. So I wanted to hit on that class graduating, and we have another class of 24 that just started the academy. In February, mid-February. So they'll graduate around August, and we have already started to hire for our class that will take place in May. So we're continue to bring people in, and I think that's important. I think that's helped us keep our numbers where they are and staffing. Kimberly. I think Kimberly's talking to you, Jamie. No, look, Kim, I got here on time tonight and this afternoon. I haven't touched anything. It's all working well. All the signs and flashes and buzzers seem to be doing what they're supposed to be doing. So but Jamie is doing here and making sure that everything runs smoothly, just like always. Donald, thank you for all your hard work, Chief. Donald, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. That means a lot. We haven't received any recruits from attending the event on May 16. Can you please have someone email us? 2020. Yeah, Keith, we'll have to talk offline. Maybe make sure I've got your number, Keith, so we can touch base, make sure that we're talking about the same thing. Christina, hey, Chief, I'm the EMT that is changing to forensics. I put in for the property and evidence technician. I need to start somewhere till I finish school next year. You told me to let you know if I put in. Okay, Christina, thanks. I'll take a look. I usually get briefed again on our staffing Friday before we break for the weekend, so I'll take a look and see where we're at. I know that we do have some applications put in, but I'll know more on Friday. So I appreciate the heads up. Thank you. I look forward to hopefully working together. That'd be fantastic. Jeff, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Okay, Keith. Yeah, if you send that number to Amy, if you send that number to Jamie, we will. I'll shoot you a call. Make sure we're both on the same page. All right. So we talked about the new academy class. Not only do we have recruits that are getting ready to graduate, we just had a class of telecommunication 911 dispatchers. Right. We had 13 individuals that just graduated. I will tell you, we were about 25 short at the beginning of the year in 2020. And that is a hard job, right? You're hearing things, you're typing, you're sending information out, but you don't see it. You don't see the conclusion. So dispatchers have a very, very hard job. We were working them way too hard. They're having to stay over, cover shifts that were short. It was our number one priority last year to fully staff the 911 center. So we're authorized about 54 with the ability to overhire because of vacancies. So we are fully hired. We are fully staffed.
I guess Stacy's coming.
They did a fantastic job, and if you see that post from Miss Estep, she does our training. But I could not thank Fran and Laura and Stacy, Chief Hudgens and Chief Creswell for the hard work they put in. But we are fully staffed, and we're able to relax some of those schedules and some of those hours that people had to work, and they just do a great job. I cannot be more impressed with them, and getting those 13 to graduate, it was great to see them and share a little bit of time with their families and get to know them a little bit. So I was, I'm just very, very thankful, and I'm glad they're on board. Ireland, school is back in session. Cars are zooming past our buses. My husband is with our son in the morning, and cars not stop. We don't want another death like the lady who was crossing the shipyard recently across the street. Can you, so I will tell you, I'm very, very impressed with some of the questions tonight because you're already locked in, and it tells me that we're hearing the same thing. So I talked about the speed trailers, but also we're partnering with the school system. We talked about this last year, and we got it up and running now. Now that school's back, every bus in the Newport News school system has a camera on the sides, right? The stop sign comes out, the bars come out, and now there's a camera. So what we do is we're trying to partner with schools to get individuals to slow down. We have a system now that it's called a license plate reader or a bus camera that if the bus is stopped and cars drive past, and they're supposed to stop in both directions, if they drive past, it issues a citation through a computer system. So we validate that. In fact, we look at the camera system, did they run past? And then the ticket is mailed to the owner of the vehicle. And it is a hefty fine. Now, it's not about making money. It's not about writing tickets. It's about preserving life, right? Getting people to slow down. We have kids that are getting on and off the buses to keep them safe. That's what it's about. I will tell you, last month we had about 250 violations, and that's concerning to me. Some of the hot areas, we picked out 3 or 4 spots that we're going to put some officers at, but I understand the issue that you're talking about at the shipyard. But we did an early partnership. It took us a while to get it up and running with the schools, but it is up and running now. It is working well. So there are cameras on those buses now that we're able to have that extra technology, and I think that's very, very beneficial in what we do. So that's a great point and a great highlight. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Dwayne, I want to work with Dwayne. That'd be fantastic. I would love that. And man, just let me know when you're ready. And whether it's a civilian side or the law enforcement side, just let me know when you're ready. We'd love that. Pam, I mentioned to you a few months ago during your monthly information about the Bland Boulevard, Jefferson Avenue traffic light. There is no right turn on red. Constantly, right. Our city would make some money with so many violators. It is not going to enforce. Please have the signs taken down. Thank you. So Pam, some of that's not in my control. I don't control the traffic. I don't set the lights. I don't put the traffic control signs. That's city engineering that does that. And we look at our signs about where our traffic accidents are. So it's not something that I put up or I take down. Those are by data, by crash data, traffic data, counting. When I say counting vehicles. But we can't be everywhere at once. I can tell you that I have 465 officers. We cover 3 shifts, 7 days a week. We're going to deploy where we see our it's not that we're just letting it go, but calls for service. We're always going to focus on our violent crime, where we have our high speeding, where we have high accidents. So those are areas that we're looking at. So I like you said we talked about this a month ago. So I can take a look at it. I can send it to traffic engineering, but I'm not sure I'm understanding. Are you saying that that people are, it says no right turn, people are still turning. Am I reading that right? There's no right turn on red from 7,
But folks are constantly
constantly
turning
turning
right on
red all
day.
day long. Our city can make some money with. Yeah, so I never want to get into I don't want to be misquoted. I never want, we're not trying to issue tickets to make money, right? It's about safety. But I can tell you, we get a lot of issues with traffic and in places we like to be, and we try to prioritize those by where we're seeing the most accidents, and most excessive speed. So I can send it to traffic engineering, take a look at the study if it looks like, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that make those decisions. Stacy.
She was
Oh,
responding
she's
to Debbie.
responding. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Ms. Arley, no problem. Thank you very much, Cameron. I know in one of the lanes you can turn right on red, and I believe it says except from the right lane. Oh, I appreciate that, Cameron. Yeah, I don't want to tell you wrong. I'm not exactly sure. I just know that there's a lot of studies that go into that, vehicles, cameras that engineering looks at about how they do up the traffic variation, the traffic signals, the timing, the sequence. They do a lot of studies with that. I don't want you to think it's that we put them up, we take them down. That's not what our role is. It is to enforce the traffic laws, but we can't be everywhere, so we try to prioritize that where we get the most bang for the buck, where we get the most speeding violations, where we see the worst accidents, where we see the most speed complaints. But I can ask them to look at it. And Cameron, if you're saying you can turn right but not from one lane, I'll just have to take a look at that. And I can send that with the precinct captain. I'll take a look at it myself. Dispatch graduation, and I talked. We are spending a lot of time and effort on looking at technology this year, to try to work harder and smarter to utilize technology, whether we're getting information out to officers, camera systems that talk to each other, that we can be more proactive, that we can capture evidence better. There's a lot of devices that we use to try to monitor what are some of the hot topics in social media, concerns that people are talking about. Not who said what, but if there are issues that we need to be in front of, right? If there's a hot topic in the community that we need to address. We have like I said, schools are back in session. Last week was our first full week of middle school and high school. And my understanding, 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesday is kind of a cleaning day, and then second half, Thursday and Friday, we have our SROs back in the schools. I was excited. I got to go to a high school football game last Friday. I enjoyed walking around, talking to some people in the stands, some of the students, the players. We saw myself and Chief Grinstead. We watched Denby Patriots play the Heritage Hurricanes. It was just good to see high school football back, and I know it's only a couple weeks, but man, it was just good to be out and be there and interact with our youth and our kids and citizens there. So I really enjoyed the opportunity. I'm glad that that's back. I know Dr. Parker and his staff have worked very, very hard to get things up and running, to bring things together, make school the safest environment it can be, and work with they can with the sporting athletics. And it was just good to be out and see the individuals back out on a Friday night. I really had a good time. Jan, thank you for the DUI enforcement in Newport News. I feel safe driving. Thank you, Chief Drew. Well, I will tell you, Jan, I'll tell you, this is you guys are locked in, man. I didn't know that you knew we were doing the DUI enforcement. Every year we do a couple initiatives a year focused around DUIs. Again, where we see the most accidents, where we've seen some of the most violations. So there are a couple times each year that we focus on DUI enforcement, and Jan is exactly right. That's one of the things we've been focusing on. I think that's important as we try to keep our roads safe. And again, it's not about writing tickets and generating revenue. It's about safety, safety, safety. So I appreciate that. Thank you for noticing. I'll certainly pass that on, not only to the precincts, but also to the traffic division. So thank you very much. Jacob, it seems there's been a lot of shootings, stabbings in Newport News and Hampton lately. So Jacob, we haven't, in Newport News, we're about 5 shootings this year above where we were last year, but we haven't had anything in about a week. It's still, any shooting is too many, any homicide is too many. But we do monitor what goes on around us. We share a lot of information with our brother and sister cities. Certainly we work a lot with Hampton, just with the a line that you can cross the street and be in Hampton or vice versa back in Newport News. We share a lot of information together. I know that some jurisdictions had a rough weekend and it seems to bounce around a little bit, but I think we just continue to stay focused. We share information and look at are there any retaliation? Are there any ties? Has an arrest been made? Does it look like there's any bleed over? Really dissecting. I will tell you, when every Monday we go through reports for the weekend, and then every Thursday we go through reports for the week. And I'll tell you, most of the aggravated assaults we get, and aggravated assaults is a shooting, a stabbing, or a severely bad beating. Most of those that we get are domestic related right now. Most of those are cleared by arrest, but domestics are an issue that we're still continuing, whether it's, and when I say domestic, it's not always husband and wife. It could be father and son, father and stepson, boyfriend, girlfriend, and new boyfriend, or boyfriend and girlfriend and new girlfriend. So some of those things all kind of play into it. I don't want to paint it with a broad brush. We really have to dive down and see. We're not seeing any one particular neighborhood hit with a string of violence. It's kind of spread out, but we are seeing a lot of domestic situations. And when I talk to other departments, Jacob, one of the things we talk about is people are home more. They're not out and about. I know some restrictions have lightened a little bit, but people being inside, sometimes it's frustration. Money might be tight. Businesses shut down or not open as long, and just uncertainty. So it makes it tough. But that's one of the things that we're seeing. No one cannot turn right. Oh wait.
She's
Okay.
replying to Cameron.
Oh, she's talking to Cameron.
And
Okay.
But she's saying that
Okay.
you can't
Okay.
turn from either one.
Yeah, Jamie's got to clear them up for me because I start to blend together. Dispatch sent out a police aid yesterday morning. There was a purse and duffel bag and contents all over my porch. I was appreciative that everything was cleared up when I got home at 3:15. I live in the 10,000 block of Warwick. I want to shout out to the PA who took the extra time to do this. Thank you so much. Oh, Debbie, I appreciate that. That's good. Officers, it's always good to hear. We certainly hear when we there's issues or concerns, and it's good to hear when we get some appreciation. So I appreciate that. I will. I'm not sure who responded. Maybe we look up in the address and see. But I'm glad. I'm glad it worked out. So it was all straight by the time you got home. But that's good. Yeah, that's good. It's just I had to step out of one meeting to come down and do this session. We were talking a lot about youth and how we focus on youth in our community and getting back to that. This month we had a discussion with the young adult police commissioners, which is a group of freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors in high school, and our new recruit class is getting ready to graduate. And they're not really that far apart in age, 22, 23, 17, 18. It was just really interesting to see them have a conversation together to talk about why do they want to get into law enforcement, and then the officers, the recruits, to ask the youth, how do you feel about law enforcement? And just that conversation back and forth, it was really, really good. I think the more we have conversation, it decreases confrontations, the more we respect each other. In any event that we do in this city, it doesn't matter if it's a promotion ceremony, a graduation, a memorial service, we always have a youth involved, and that's important. It helps me. I'm trying to send a message to this community that they matter to me, that the youth matter to me. And I'm also trying to send a message to this department that youth are important, that they matter. That's our future. So the meeting I was in upstairs, we were just talking about what we can do in the month of April. We're trying to put a poetry event together, and then after April, what do we got in May? How do we keep building? Can you scroll up just a little bit, Jamie, right above 10? Cameron, he thought about doing the patrol lights like Hampton does. Cameron, there's mixed messages on that. I think that works in some neighborhoods. Right now, no. I have seen other departments do it, but right now I'm not at a point. We can certainly look at it. We talk about different strategies and techniques. We might use the patrol lights. I know we use them in the holiday time around our shopping areas where we have increased shopping, but and I'm not saying anything against it at all. It may work very well, but right now, I'm kind of reserving that for when we have some special assignments. Brittany. Wow. You carry. Wow, Brittany, thank you. That caught me off guard. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Tim, I was wondering if the officers who have adopted our elementary school are going to come back soon. I haven't seen them. I really love the effort on your all's part. Tim, it's funny again. I feel like you all were in the staff meeting we had on Monday. We talked about speed trailers and DUI enforcement and school being back in. So yeah, there's probably been some movement because school was out for so long. There's probably been some movement of officers, but the elementary school, adopting elementary school is still a priority for me to spend time. I know until that recruit class gets out, I've got some shortages. Now we're moving some people around to fill that. When I say shortages, I don't mean vacancies like we don't have bodies, but I've got 24 people in a class that started in mid-February, and then another 16 that are getting ready to graduate in 2 weeks. So that's like 40 officers there, but I don't have them in patrol. So I've got some holes there that are getting ready to get filled, and then I'm going to use our traffic and our canine officers to help fill some of that. So short answer to your question is yes. It may be some different officers than before, but I'm still committed to spending time and visiting and interacting with our elementary schools. I was up at Jenkins a week and a half ago and just saying hello to some kids as they got off the bus and seeing them back. It's just good to see them back in school, and we keep our distance and stuff, but just to wave and see well, I guess they're smiling, right with the masks on, but yeah, it's important, and I really enjoy that. So it's a great point. So we haven't forgot. Zachary, I think adding CIT to the academy was a great idea. Well, I see what you're saying. And learning a lot one day makes you think about things that are not normally talked about. Zach, I appreciate that. Yeah, we train officers to do that, but I think let's extend it. We have a group right there in the academy. Let's just go ahead and put that week of training in there instead of having you get out on the street and then come back a small group at a time and get that CIT training. I think it's better to just extend the academy and do everybody at one time and let them all get the training. So I think it's been very beneficial. And we extended our academy about 2.5 weeks this session to get some extra training that I wanted to incorporate in the training program. So I do believe it's beneficial, and I think it will pay off for us and be benefit to the community as well. Hi, Chief Drew. Thanks to all the officers who come to help when we were at Security Service. It's no problem at all, Tracy. Thank you very much. We're all in it together and trying to make things safe and work together. So it's no problem at all, and I appreciate you chiming in tonight and saying thank you. And let me take this opportunity to say some thank you to myself. I want to thank the 16 officers, recruits who are getting ready to graduate. They could have went to work in any department. Law enforcement officers, police departments are looking for quality people everywhere. And for those that chose to come to Newport News and serve the citizens of this city, I'm very, very grateful. And I appreciate the time that they took to come here and work with us, and I'm very, very appreciative. And the men and women who do this job day in and day out, time away from their families, baseball games and events, recitals, anniversaries that they don't get to always attend. I appreciate the work that they do here, from officers who are working day shift, or officers who are on midnight shift and working through the night when most of us are asleep. I really appreciate the dedication you have to this community and this city. But not just our sworn officers, right? We talked about our dispatchers, our civilians, our individuals that work in records and behind the scenes, those that even keep this building clean, the media relations that put out the information and keep people informed. It's a team effort, and there's so many different factions: the proactive side, the reactive side, trying to prevent crime, trying to solve crime, problem solving. Those that focus on community youth and outreach, being creative and new ideas. All those things play a role, and I'm very, very blessed, and I appreciate the men and women who give time to serve this city. Cameron, forgot to tell you earlier, but I coined an officer. I coined an officer at 7-Eleven. But she had an officer up in North Precinct. Make sure we got Cameron. I got it. I was like, what? I got it. No, thank you, thank you, and thank you for sharing. Um, but no, that's good. Um, so, like I said, we have the academy that's in mid-February that started, and we will be doing a new class in May. So as new people come into the organization, getting them acclimated to this community and this field, and we talk a lot about improving law enforcement and reimagining, and I think technology and policies and procedure. But look, at the end of the day, it's the men and women who come to work here, sworn and civilian both, that invest in this community, right? That serve our citizens, that try to make things better, and I think it starts at the top of our values and the way we treat each other and our citizens. I was in a meeting earlier with Lieutenant Morgan, and we were talking about one of the questions that was asked to me was, are you trying to repair relationships with your community? And I don't know if I took issue with the word repair, but it caught me a little off guard. I think we're continuing to build and strengthen our relationships with the community. I believe that's one of the best assets we have in this city, is how we work with our citizens. Citizens are taking back their neighborhoods. For the last 3 years, our calls for service have increased, but our complaints have decreased. Our crime has decreased. Still, when I look at our complaints, 3 years ago we had 106 citizens complained about some type of interaction with law enforcement, but we had 169 calls for service. We interacted with citizens 160 some times, 160,000, and had 106 complaints. 2 years ago, those complaints dropped to 86, and last year they dropped to 80. Now, people may say what they want in the community, I don't know, but people who called and filed a complaint with Internal Affairs or the precinct or anyone who made a complaint against our officers, it went from 106 to 86 to 80. So if crime's going down and complaints are going down, calls for service going up, we're moving in the right direction. Now, it's not perfect. I don't know that we'll ever be, but I think we have to push and try to move and direct that way. But I think it's how we talk to each other, we value each other, that everyone has value. Those conversations, I think, prevent confrontations and allow us to create a venue for us to move forward. Thank you, Chief Trooper. Thank you, Ms. Island. I really appreciate that. Cindy, please thank Detective Thornton for coming to help us out. He seems to really want to. Cindy, I absolutely will. It means a lot. I appreciate that. I will pass that on to him. Jamie's taking a note right now, and I will reach out to him. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Ford, hi, Chief. What is happening with SROs now that the students are returning to school buildings? Does every SRO have a school? Does every high school have an SRO? So, Ford, the answer is yes and no. So how I explain that is schools are not back fully staffed. There's a percentage, I think the number's somewhere around 40 or 50% of students are back in the schools. And from my understanding, last week was our first full week back. And if Lieutenant Morgan was sitting there beside me, I think she would tell me that there's students on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is a sanitation or clean day. They wipe everything down, and then another segment of students come on Thursday and Friday. So I do not have an SRO in one building 8 hours. I have SROs that may be splitting time, doing half time at this school and half the time at that school. But we did have some SROs that retired and left the department. So probably we will do another round of interviews in August to select 4 or 5 new SROs that will take part. But right now we have 7 or 8. And they're doing some schools have some double duty going on, and then also trying to hit. I don't have enough officers to put an officer in every elementary school, but we're trying with the adopt the elementary school program that officers will stop by at least maybe to see the kids get on the bus or get off the bus. So the SROs are back. We moved them back 2 weeks ago. Let them get a week of training, get back get back ready, right? And then they were in the schools last week. So, Brittany, Jamie, you are the best. Well, thank you, Brittany. Is there a question there, or you just posting a comment? Just want to make sure I knew that. Hold on. Yeah, no, I'll write that down. Now, Jamie is the best. She makes sure that I don't touch anything or mess anything up. Make sure the system's working. It takes a lot of notes from me and keeps me guided. And our media relation does a phenomenal job. It is a challenging job as we push information out and try to get citizens' concerns as we move forward. But I'm very, very blessed to have such quality and talented people here, and they do an amazing job. I drive by Sanford Elementary on Colony Road every morning, and there has been a police officer there every morning. Thank you, Brian Cummings' cousin Nancy. Wow, Nancy. So first of all, thank you. Thanks for noticing and mentioning that. And well, let me say this about my friend Brian. I enjoyed my time with him in Richmond, and he was a good friend, and he left way too soon. But I still remember him going down to his office, and we would be teasing each other, and he would give it as good as he would take it. He's a good man. But so you notice an officer being there, and it's just sometimes people see things, sometimes they don't. It's a balancing act, really, in law enforcement, right? Sometimes citizens will say, we'd like to see more traffic enforcement in our community, in our neighborhood. And then the next phone call is, why are you doing so many traffic stops in our community, in our neighborhood? So we try to balance that and try to spread it across our city. But it is, I appreciate your comments and your remarks. Thank you. Cameron, can you ask Jane, we'll be doing the program with the dogs at the shelter. Cameron, why don't you just come down here and sit next to me, my friend? You can just come down. Matter of fact, Cameron, I'll tell you what. You come here, you can have my seat, and I'll just sit. Now, I think they actually have a meeting this week to share some things up. So, Jamie, make a note that Cameron is going to be our first volunteer, and we're going to put him with a bunch of cats. But no, so what Cameron's talking about is a while back we had a tail wagging Tuesday where we partnered with the animal shelter and officers with dogs, and we would hope the dog would get adopted. So what we saw very quickly was some officers were adopting dogs, and some dogs got adopted, and then I had officers showing up with
officers.
then officers then had some officers with cats, and then I don't know, some other animals, rabbits I think was out there. I don't know, but it was I really enjoyed it. We published it in a newsletter, and Cameron says I'll be here next month. All right, we'll do it together, buddy. Just get him, let you take the show. Cameron is one of our young adult police commissioners. He's a teenager. He's a youth. Cameron's part of the future of this city. And to have a relationship with young people, that is exactly, so there's a young man who's taking time out of his day, right? I'm sure he's studying or finished. I'm sure his homework is done, right? That's talking to the chief of police in this city. And I don't say chief of police, I'm not saying I'm important at all, but I'm saying there's a young man who cares about his community. And I learn a lot from Cameron, from our conversations and questions he asks. He is really a defender of his generation, of his youth, and he asks a lot of hard questions. He's got a huge heart, and he cares about people. And that's kind of people I like interacting with and spending time with, that want to make things better, right? That we're able to sit down, and although we are considerably age different apart, considerably, right? That we're able to have conversations, and that's important. So Cameron, I appreciate you, buddy, and yeah, let's set it up. You talk to Lieutenant Morgan, text her every day, and tell her that I want to do the Facebook session with the chief next month, and we'll do it, my friend. Yeah, studying. That's good. You better be, buddy.
Studying.
You better be. Is that quotes around there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So yeah. You better be. No, that's a special group, the young adult police commissioners. They do a lot. They've gone with me to city council meetings. They talk to the mayor, city council, and but yeah, they're a great bunch of people. Lieutenant Morgan, Captain Tejas, their staff do a great job, and that's an investment that we are making in our future. Right? When we talk about improving police and reimagining, I think a lot of it could start with our youth, and the time that we spend with them. So look, we've talked a little bit. If I missed anything, Jamie, are we good?
No, we're
as we go forward, some of the things that we will be planning for, of course, we're just around the corner. I can't believe we're mid-March already. It seems like just yesterday we were doing Thanksgiving dinner, and then New Year's Eve, and now we're in mid-March. So some things coming up, programs this summer as we get ready. I'm excited. I've talked with Mr. Coleman about programs we want to do with the Boys and Girls Club as we move back in some time. I really want to make sure we stay linked in and interact with the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Newport News, the 7 or 8 different facilities they have up and down the peninsula. And I know there's the pandemic restrictions, right? But as they get lifted and lightened, I'm looking forward to spending time with the youth again of the city. Some of the things that we'll focus on, we talked about technology and things that we're looking at to help us work smarter, right? To address some of the issues that we might not have to be so evasive or invasive on, and some of the stops we make to replicate some things we have in other parts of the city, and I think that's a big investment for us. So we'll be looking at things as we go into the summer of directions we want to move. What are some of the main issues? I talked a little bit in the last session about sector training. Now I haven't really shared this, so this is hot off the press. Don't write this down. Don't share with anyone. I haven't talked a lot about the department about sector training, but a venue that I would like to see, whether we are able to do it this year or not, is a precinct day or a sector training where 50 or 60 individuals from the North Precinct meet with the leadership and officers and lieutenants in the North Precinct. I think it's important that you have a direct interaction with the leadership of your community. And the more we press on accountability, everybody takes on a role. So could you imagine, and we can do the same thing for the Central Precinct and the South. I'm just using the North. Could you imagine 50 or 60 people from North Precinct? And then we divide that up with the 2 sectors, who lives where geographically. My hope would be, and usually what we ask is every officer to make sure one person is there. So we could have up to 100 after the restrictions are lifted. So let's think, but let's just be conservative. 60 people talking with the leadership of that precinct. And if I went around that room and asked every individual, what is something you would like to see addressed or fixed, I might get 50 or 60 different things. So now we're running all around, well, which ones do? But could you imagine with a facilitator, we talk openly about the concerns. Could you imagine if 50 or 60 people selected and agreed on 3 things? And for that year, or for the first half of the year that we looked at, or even put timelines and dates on, maybe it's something that could be done in 3 months, maybe it's something that would take the whole year. Those 3 things, the community and that precinct work together. So if you had 3 main issues in the North, 3 in the Central, and 3 in the South, that would be 9 initiatives or goals that would help drive the department. So at the end of the year, police and citizens have buy-in together on things that they're trying to accomplish. If we throw 30, 40, 50 things out there, 10 or 15, they get lost in the shuffle. But if you have 3, the citizens know what we're working on in North Precinct, and the officers know what we're working on in North Precinct, and we collaborate to do those things together, and we hold each other accountable through additional meetings, updates, I think you can really get some things done. So, and I'll even throw this. If we get 50 or 60 people that come out, I'll feed you. Breakfast and lunch, dinner, you're on your own. But I just think to have good conversation, to learn the captain, to learn the lieutenants, to meet the officers that patrol your neighborhood. I can read on a spreadsheet that there's issues, like some of the issues with speeding. I can read that on spreadsheet to the 12 officers of roll call. And guys, there's been some complaints in the 1200 block for speeding, right? That's very different to sit across the table from a citizen who says, I live in that neighborhood, kids are playing outside, and I'm concerned about the speeding in my neighborhood. It's very different. It's beginning to build a relationship, right? And when we know who we're talking to, we're showing value, we care about that individual. Hey, you know what? I cleared up this call. I'm going to go just checking speeding in that neighborhood. Because I remember Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so or Cameron complained about, had an issue with speeding. Those things are important. So that precinct training or sector training, however we want to look at it, I think could be very, very valuable and things that we focus on and move forward. But I haven't really shared that with the other assistant chiefs or the department, so I ask you guys to keep that tight-lipped. We're looking at it. Did I miss a couple? Let me see. Right above Cindy, I think there's one I haven't got.
Oh, I was responding to Keith.
Oh, okay, great.
Keith sent us an email
Oh,
with the
okay.
information about their event.
With a number for the event. Great,
Yeah.
great. Keith, I'll shoot you a call. We'll talk soon, my friend. Cindy, bless you. From Cali, like in California. Is it? Cindy, you're
She
on.
lives in Susanville, California.
Susan, you got to give me
I know that's-
no. Cindy, you got to give me some update on how did you log in from California? How did you hear about the event? These conversations. You got to give me a little background. But thank you for being here. I hope things are well in California. I'm sure they're a little bit warmer than they are here right now. Miss Ireland, love the idea. I would be interested in serving as a citizen leader. Wow. Now, Miss Ireland, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Taking ownership, working together, and hey, what is the issue that we need to focus on? That is huge. And I'm telling you, citizens linked in with their captain and their lieutenants, when you build a relationship, that's exactly what it's about. Miss Brumfield, my friend, how are you? Miss Brumfield, I don't know what you're talking about helping. You'd be helping me put it together. No, that would be great. I think it opens up a lot of doors, a lot of communication. It's important. Loud music. Loud music is also a concern in neighborhoods, especially those with chronic migraines. And thank you for what you do. Thank you, ma'am. If you, Katrina, if you can send me maybe, you don't have to give me if you want, you can send me a number. I will reach out and kind of talk to you about maybe the areas you're talking about, or if you want to just text some addresses, something maybe we could look into. I know sometimes we get some complaints about construction. There's been some complaints about cars revving their engines, racing or taking off. There's some things that we can maybe put in place. We just have to kind of see the environment of where that's occurring at. Am I pretty well caught up, Jamie? Have I missed?
Mm-hmm.
We're doing okay on time.
Mhm.
Good. So a couple of things as we move forward. We met this year and set our goals. Continue to be focused on that. Cameron is fired up tonight. I'm not even sure I know what that is, Cameron. Is that a dance move or something, my friend? TikToks. Cameron, I embarrass myself enough every day. I don't need much help from anybody else doing it. Maybe we could do a TikTok video with the commissioners and put it out there. You're killing me. Read the next chapter. Get ahead. Study ahead.
Cameron, go study.
Sylvia, thank you. I need a little backup. Thank you, Sylvia. That's what I deal with every day, back and forth. I think anything that we can do with our community would be beneficial. The Boys and Girls Club are great partners. The United Way, the different entities, the Virginia Unity Project, Pastor Swan, Miss Lyons have been a big part in talking with us and helping with us. We brought in a lot of outside experts to teach classes and work with, and focusing on mental illness and autism, homelessness. We have a couple things that I'm excited about. Hopefully we'll see that first week of April. Our CARES unit, that is, I was looking at our use of force incidents for the month of February. And we usually average around 7 or 8 incidents of force. So that's if we have to use our taser, if we have to use OC spray, if there's a tackle or some type of fight. We had 4 incidents of use of force in February. 3 of the 4 were dealing with mental illness. We have a program that we're going to launch or have set in the month of April called our CARES unit. So instead of officers being the first one to respond to low-level situations of homelessness, suicidal subject, drug addiction, depression, those type of things, where we get called, we're going to kind of take a back seat and be second responders. And we're going to station an officer at the hospital for individuals who are come in to get treatment for mental illness. But we'll have a vehicle, CARES vehicle, if you will, that will have I want to make sure that a paramedic a psychologist that will respond, behavioral health that will respond, and be the first responders. Now, we'll still be there in case something were to go wrong, but we're really going to kind of take a step back and let those individuals try to address the situation. It's not 24 hours, it's not 7 days a week, but it's a start, right? It's a start, and be able to evaluate to see if it's beneficial and then build from there. I give a lot of credit to our city manager and our mayor, city council with their forethought. Chief Hudgens was a big proponent to put this together. We modeled it after some things that we saw in Portland and out in Seattle. So I'm really excited to get that up and running, and I think that's how we look at thinking outside the box and being creative. Is there an email that I can send Chief to talk about forensics? Also, Sergeant Ram has been awesome. Yeah, so you can email me, Christina. I'll have Jamie send you my email. You can just reach out to me and email, and we can go from there. Do officers help animal control with feral and aggressive animals roaming the streets, not on leashes? I don't want to see people, children. So Katrina, yeah, we have a great working relationship with our animal control. If we're called, if we're needed, we'll be there. And a lot of times officers are the first to respond if it's after hours and we call animal control out. So we have a great relationship, not only with our partners, the park rangers, animal control, all of us work together. So if it's a situation that we're called to, we'll respond. Mr. Robbins, love the idea of CARES unit. That makes such great sense for properly responding to the situation involving mental. Yeah, so Mr. Robbins, we're going to try it. I'm really excited. I'm happy that we were able to get it off the ground. And we got a lot of support from our city manager and our mayor and city council. And I think it will grow. I believe, it's my hope anyway, and feeling that I think it's going to be very, very successful, and that we'll be able to, after so many months of data, to be able to go back and maybe ask for it to be doubled next year. We'll just kind of see how it plays out, but I think it's going to be a very, very good tool for us. And there are some other entities in the country that have it. I'm not sure there's another one in the state right now. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure there's any in the Hampton Roads area. So we're going to try it. I actually sit on a group with the out of DCJS called the Marcus Alert. It's a group that are looking at how better ways for law enforcement to respond to individuals with mental illness and how we can do better. And I think this is going to be a start for us. So not only with training and awareness, de-escalation, but also interacting and using other resources to help us address that issue. So I'm going to start to wind down here. Katrina, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to start to wind down here. I don't want to hold people up too long. I was really impressed that I made it on time today. I thank everybody for tuning in. My friend Cameron. Isn't it past your bedtime, man? I really appreciate people being here and a very good conversation, really pointing out some things when you talk about traffic control and some issues that you like to see us address. I think that's important. And if you're not able to tune in with us this evening, it should be recorded, right? You can watch it at different times. We're going to release a video here in the next couple days. I think it's been formatted now that we can put that interaction with our young adult police commissioners in our new recruit class that's getting ready to graduate. It's really interesting to see some of the interaction. I understand that it has been formatted, I guess is the right word, but I have not seen it yet. I've heard some good things about it, but I want to just kind of take a look at it. I could not be more impressed with those young people, the youth of our city, and whether it's at a football game, getting feedback from the SROs in the schools, the conversations that we have, the things that they do. One of our guest speakers at our police graduation for this recruit class is a youth, right? A youth of this city that is going to open up and give the first speech, not only to our community, but to 16 individuals that are going to patrol his community, his city, his neighborhood. So I'm looking forward to that. I think the more we know about each other, the better conversations we have, the better chance we have to meet in the middle and move forward. So if I haven't missed anything, Jamie, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off tonight. I appreciate you all. God bless each and every one of you. Be careful. If there's anything we can do, please let me know. We are hiring for dispatchers. We are hiring for officers. I want to thank the men and women for the work that they do, sworn and civilian both. Our media relations and our dispatchers, our individuals down in records that work through the evening into the night, officers that are on midnight shift that are joining the academy, they're getting ready to graduate from the academy, our school resource officers, our detectives, our patrolmen, individuals that are focusing on events in the community and our youth. All of those things come together to work together for good, to try to build relationships and make things better, to make the city the best that we can. I want to thank Amanda and Rob Coleman for the Police Foundation, all the work that they do for seeking individuals out that want to contribute, whether it's time and volunteering or financial, whatever it might be. The work that they do, it's a big thing they helped us out with was outer carrier vests that are going to take weight off the officer's lower back. We usually have a couple officers go out with injury, and we partnered with the Navy actually to do a big study and talk about how it can be more weight proportionate. So it's more of a vest on the outside of the uniform than underneath the shirt. So I'm really looking forward to that. We already have one order in and another order coming. We're going to do all the patrolmen first, and the Police Foundation were the ones that got us off and running and made the first set. So again, I keep saying goodbye and then I talk about something else. So I apologize. Jamie just shook her fist at me. So you guys be safe. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And we'll do this again next month. Okay. Take care.